I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment.
Yep, you want your boy? Go pick him up. He's over here, on a fucking concrete where I left him.
On an individual level, we have to learn that they are vile.
Not worth calories.
And you're Gen Z, and you won't date me.
The camera's been on the whole time, huh? I don't even know.
Gentlemen, welcome. Please find a seat and relax. We have a lot to discuss. Welcome, one and all. I'm KC.
And I am DC.
And we are two goddamn gentlemen, bringing to you this and every week a celebration of all things ironic paternal rape and being one drop away from saying, hello, America.
That we are. Dude, when I looked at the wording for that, what I wanted for it, I didn't know how. I was like, there's a term for like murdering your parents, right? Like patricide, matricide, whatever. It's like, is there a specific word for like raping your parents? But there isn't, so ironic paternal rape it is. But in my search for that, I actually Googled, what is it called when you rape your parent? And then I got a Wikipedia page entitled Types of Rape, Casey. Did you believe that that's actually a Wikipedia page?
You know, it's probably a bad thing that I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all, but I probably am on some kind of list.
The
contents of this Wikipedia page. Date rape, number 1. That must be the most popular for some reason. Number 2, gang rape. So,
okay, I can see that. I can see that, sure.
Date. It's a group date. Right. Spousal rape, rape of children. And then I was like, okay, here, we're getting close. Next one's got to be it, right? Nope. Statutory rape, then prison rape. More men per capita are raped in this world than women. Just saying that is a fact. Serial rape, payback rape. That's a payback rape.
Payback rape is...
Hold on. Is that raping your rapist? Hold on, let's see. Okay, payback rape, also called punishment rape or revenge rape, is a form of rape specific to certain cultures, particularly the Pacific Islands. Oh, shit, dude. Can you imagine a Tongan or a Samoan raping you?
I don't want to.
It consists of the rape of a female, usually by a group of several males, as revenge for acts committed by members of her family. So that's horrifying. All right, moving on.
This is a weird start.
That's fine.
It's not the weirdest start by
No.
any stretch of the imagination.
Let's not talk about any stretch of anything anymore, Casey. Let's head on over to, you got it.
Yeah, got it. Head over to twogoddamngentlemen.com. Cast your ballot in the Hall of Gentlemen voting booth. We have a very big update on that coming in a second. As well, you can find a link to our Twitter. You can find a link to our YouTube. And you can find a link to our Patreon, where you get access into our live Discord during all free and bonus episodes. We have a brand new Ladies of the Night coming up this Thursday. Leave us a voicemail to be heard at the end of the show at 321-POV. Fuck. Do it, seriously. And don't forget to subscribe on whatever podcast feed you use. If it's Apple Podcasts, you know what everybody tells you. Leave a 5-star rating and a review of the last time you had to breathe through your mouth during sex.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up in the nostrils.
DC, if you would please, read back the minutes to last week's meeting.
So, Casey, after hours and hours of editing and re-editing, we put forward, and by we I mean you, put forward the best version of episode 43 that we could. We said, okay, fine, let's go back through, we'll see what's going on, re-upload it, and YouTube is still cucked. So we're going to figure out a way to just give the MP4 link out to whoever is in want of it. So join the Patreon.
Yep.
Join the Patreon at www.patreon.com/2goddamngentlemen. And we'll get it worked out. But last week's gentleman, without further ado, we had Lot from the Bible, which is his name. If you want to figure out anything about Lot, you have to put the suffix from the Bible. Otherwise, it's just ridiculous.
Otherwise, it's just a normal 3-letter word.
Yeah. And then you get nonsense. So +7 for the man. I think that's charity votes for, getting raped by his daughters. Not only like raped, but like impregnate. Oh God, those are some retarded babies coming out. Bill Cosby definitely couldn't be. There he is. Definitely a gentleman. Plus 12.
Yep, plus 12 for Cosby. That's great.
Nailed it.
That's great. We know
Nailed it.
know our audience. DC.
Yes.
It is one of those weeks that falls ends in either a 5 or a 0. That means it is full gentleman list update time.
Can't wait.
Let's begin with the top 10 gentlemen. Starting at number 10, a plus 20 for my guy Victor Lustig, who was way higher on this list at one point.
Yeah, he was. He was number 1 for a couple weeks, but that was early on, and also you were doing a lot of grifting. So
That's right.
At number 9, none other than amazing Jesse Lee Peterson, plus 23.
Andre is shocked. Number 8, plus 25 for Dr. Seuss, a great showing.
Love it. Number 7, Ben Shapiro, or Shaprio, at plus 27.
I'm going to say I copied and pasted that off of DC's list and not know if that's true. Number 6, Milo Yiannopoulos at a plus 27. By the way, we're recording this Friday. When I post this on Sunday, not changing that.
No,
leaving that now
you can't.
for everyone.
You have to.
Absolutely.
You have to now. Number 5. Oh, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, so Milo at number 6.
Number 5, Brigham Young at plus 32.
Keep going. This is your guy.
Steven Crowder, plus 35. You love to see it.
Wow, Steven Crowder way higher than I expected him to be. I've got 2 of the top 3, but not the coveted top spot. Third place, Mel Gibson at a plus 61. Only 2 behind. New second place. It's Donald Trump at a plus 63.
And number 1, he's holding his spot now for at least the last 2 5-episode updates. Harry Vox at plus 77.
That's a couple months for Harry at the top of the list. DC. We have a top 10 and a bottom 10. We'll get to the miscreants in a second. Let's just go to this giant list of what is 5 columns by 13 gentlemen.
The first 3 out, all my guys. No, hold on. The first five guys out of the top 10 are all my guys. Come on. Let's get to the voting booth for Don Vito, Andy Kaufman, John McAfee, David Merrill Gill, and John Daly. Speaking of which, Johns, dude, we have like 9 or 10 Johns out of our 85 guys.
I think we have like 60 or 70 Johns out of our 85 guys.
That's true. And who knows how many Jane Does.
That's right.
So fucking many.
That's and some of the Johns have left almost triple digits on their own, so there's quite a few.
Yeah.
This is just a giant list of shitheads. It's really amazing.
It really is.
Brett Stevens, the only one dead even. The only one that's and George Floyd.
I brought him in, and I already forgot what he is. He's like ex Fox News or CNN or something.
He was something.
He was super Jewish. I'll tell you that.
There are more negatives on this list than positive. By a decent margin, by quite a few. And there are a bunch of names on here that I look at and go, the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, Michael is watching you. That random Twitter guy. I think I didn't have a gentleman that morning, and I was like, oh shit, I got to scour Twitter.
You found him during your lady research. You were like, oh, who's this guy? No, who's this motherfucker?
Because my lady was a Twitter nobody. That's right. Now I'm remembering all of this. I was going to say, Daddy 05 started out at what, like negative 15? He's slowly, every single week it seems like, he gets like 1 or 2 people that just like, fuck that guy.
It's his kids. It's his kids.
Yeah, it's his kids. It's Cody.
That's right.
My back is still broken, Dad.
So these are all, you can see them all on YouTube. If you're a gentleman, or if you're a goddamn gentleman through our Patreon, you can see them now. And otherwise, you can see them in a week. Go check out the full list. DC, let's get to the bottom 10.
Yeah, let's do it.
The ultimate miscreants starting, we've had a total of 85 nominees. So starting at number 76 with your guy.
Russell Greer, way too much of a gentleman, I think. He needs to be voted. Keep voting him down. The guy's terrible. Minus 46.
I think it's egregious that Jerry Falwell Jr. is a minus 51 and is in the bottom 10. Like, he's kind of a creep, but
No, he's a cut. He needs to be at the very bottom.
That's true. That's true. Okay, fair
He's
enough.
a terrible cuck.
Another one of mine, number 78 on the list, is Onision, worthy of the spot, minus 51.
Yeah, Boogie, in and out of court. I think he's still dealing with some court issues at number 79 at minus 60.
Forgettable. So forgettable. Boogie.
So fat. Not worth the calories.
Yeah, that's the only part that's memorable. Everything else about him.
Yeah. Dark Side Phil, my boy, at minus 99 in 80th. In 81st, Maddox in the triple digits. First in the triple digits here, 110.
Good luck figuring out Yaniv's score there.
I
got you.
23?
I got you. It is 115. Minus 115 for Yaniv.
Right. There you go. And your boy.
Jake Paul, third to the bottom. I only have... Now, you were tooting your own horn. You had a bunch of guys just outside the top 10. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 6 of the bottom 7 here as well. Just for the record.
Yeah, I went hard. I went hard in the paint on a lot of my gentlemen.
Jake Paul's my only miscreant in the bottom 6. He's a minus 128 in 83rd of 85 places.
In second to last, we got the chief and commander, Joe Biden, minus 167. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a good thing to see.
It's been a huge drop. It's been a huge drop.
It has. It really has been a rough couple months for his brain, and also for his spot on the list. In 85th and last place, of course, it's Tommy Tudor. Went down again another 10 spots this week or so, minus 355. What an idiot.
Tommy, the Tommy Tudor ultimate miscreant, as it will be known for years to come.
The Tommy Tudor Award. We'll give it out every year right before we take our 2-week fuck you vacation.
That's right.
Which will be coming up after episode 50, unceremoniously, where we just drop the whole list and we just say, hey, are they a gentleman or not? And then we see if they are or not.
Yeah, just move on. All right, fuck them now. Fuck them. We don't care about them at all. DC, I believe you have one gentlemanly update.
Oh, Casey, do I? Miss Jessica Simpson, Jonathan Yaniv. Casey had a little bit of an update. I don't know if this was audio pulled from a video, but I found it in audio form. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you hit play, and we'll let her say what her update is, Casey.
I went to an urgent care center, and I had them do an exam on me, and they told me that my clitoris fell off.
Oh, hold on. What? They told you your clitoris fell off? Did I hear you right? Where, Casey, where the hell did it go? Next clip.
It's not there. I don't know where it went. It's not there anymore. So.
Okay, cool. That's just exactly what you deserve.
All right. Now, I'm not an expert in how these surgeries work. Mm-hmm. What would the clitoris have been?
The tip of his dick. It was the tip of his dick that they sewed on poorly. just the tip fell off. Into his pants, presumably, and then out his sleeve onto the
sidewalk,
onto the floor somewhere in Canada. Someone's like, "What is this? Did someone drop an uneaten end of a hot dog? Oh no!
Oh, you had a bad day? You had a bad day? My clitoris fell off.
My clitoris fell off. Well." Definitions matter. So Casey, as you can imagine, Jonathan was pretty upset about this, and he had this to say about the situation.
It's not impossible, but it's so rare that something like that can happen. Because, how do I put it?
I fucked up.
Yeah, yeah. Kill yourself. You should probably kill yourself when you have like that kind of a commitment to like mutilate your penis into a makeshift a makeshift vagina. I mean, you gotta make sure that shit is like handled. You know, you can't just have your dick parts falling off like you're some kind of leper. That's not what you want.
It's like taping the arms to a snowman. It's like, that's not gonna. You gotta really root it in there.
You know the snowman's gonna melt. It's like hammering an icicle into a statue, or like hammering a popsicle into a statue as the dick, and you're like, that'll be fine.
Just sticking the ice cream cone right to it, like, that'll stay.
Oh,
Jesus.
my God.
Well, that is not a
uh,
problem I plan on having in my lifetime.
But you know, I wanted to know, Jonathan, what do you feel about this whole thing?
Things have not gone the way I wanted it to with the surgery.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't go like you wanted. I
It
can
did
imagine.
not. It seems to have gone a different way. Wow, what an update! Yeah, I did not see that one coming.
Fucking dick fell off. That's so funny.
I hate it when that happens, though. To be
I
fair,
hate it. Yeah.
fair. DC, it's nomination time.
I can't wait.
I'm excited. I'll lead it off tonight with an American hero. Born in September of 1971, originally named Lance Edward Gunderson, until he was legally adopted by Terry Keith Armstrong 2 years later. I give you Lance Armstrong.
Hell yeah.
DC,
Yes.
Lance Armstrong is a goddamn winner,
Yep.
as any gentleman is. At 12, he was already a prodigy. Finished fourth in a statewide Texas swimming event, 1,500 meters. He was brand new to it, and then he was like, oh, I'm not going to swim anymore. What does that sign say? It says triathlon? Well, that looks like fun to a crazy person like me. It was called the Iron Kids Triathlon. He learned about it when he was 12. He won it when he was 13. So he's
Damn.
not a big deal, just doing what he does.
Right.
1987, so now we're talking he's 16 years old. He's ranked as the number one triathlete under 19 in the country.
Damn.
And he's 16. Yep, pretty good. In his season at 16 years old, his total points in the triathlon calendar were better than 5 of the professionals running all the same events. And at the same age of 16, he became a professional triathlete and became a national sprint course triathlon champion at 18 and 19 years old.
Attaboy. And he wasn't even black. Great job.
That's right, yeah. And not on
Well, I mean, I should have known
time.
that. He was swimming. God, that was stupid of me to say.
obvious. DC is obvious.
Yeah.
In 1992, Lance turns into a professional cyclist. Joins the Motorola team. Some of the sponsors are pretty funny. For example, one of the cycling
Tab
tours.
Cola.
Yeah. Stuff they've never touched. The Thrift Drug series was a series that he raced in for like 6 years in the 90s, which I thought was fun.
Cool.
So he ran or biked for Motorola at the beginning. Had a breakthrough race at the World Road Race Championship in Norway. And now, to put things in context, because we all know where this goes, in a 2016 speech at the University of Colorado, Lance was talking about his drug usage through his career and said that he began doping in late spring of 1995. So let's keep that in mind as we go through his gentlemanly career, as it was. He, in his early 20s, had already started winning a couple of stages at the Tour de France, and he kept plowing ahead through 98. He wasn't dominating, but he was really starting to turn it on. And that is when part one of the different dramatic turns in Lance's life take place. On October 2nd, 1996, at the age of 25 years old, Lance is diagnosed with stage 3 testicular cancer. Womp.
Man, yeah, how are you not touching your dick enough to let it get to stage 3, motherfucker?
Yeah, this is this whole paragraph is a Mad Lib of shit that you don't want to hear, and you can tell that certain.
That's a
parts of the
4-letter
sentence you
word on
wanna
this
change.
podcast. No Mad Libs.
Good point. So the cancer had spread to his lymph nodes, lungs, brain, and abdomen. Here were his symptoms. Some of them, at least: headache, blurred vision, coughing up blood, and a swollen testicle. Hate to see that. By October, he had his, and again, terms you never want to hear describing anything about you. He had his deceased testicle removed.
Oh my
Deceased
God.
testicle. Damn it. Just hurts me every time.
That's worse than a stillbirth.
You think so?
You can make another baby. What are you going to make another testicle? It's
That's
definitely
true.
worse.
But a gentleman always prevails, DC. Don't worry.
Always.
Just hang in there. His doctor, Dr. Reeves, was asked in a later interview about Lance's chances at the time of that removal, and he's going through the treatments and everything. And he said, quote, "Almost none. We told Lance initially 20 to 50% chance, mainly to give him hope. But with the kind of cancer he had, with the x-rays we saw, the blood tests, almost no hope." He went through a ton of tests, a ton of treatment in a bunch of different places. Later in October, the brain lesions are removed. And by December, he is already going into his final chemotherapy treatment. This dude is a goddamn machine.
Right.
February of the following year, cancer-free. And this is when it all begins, DC. A former boss at Subaru, Montgomery, offers him a contract with the U.S. Postal Service cycling team. And I think we all know where that goes. And
I was wondering where they advertised. Now I know.
you found it. Before the cancer treatment, Lance had found some success in the Tour de France. He had been in it 4 times. He'd won 2 stages. In 93, he won stage 8. And in 95, after one of his teammates actually died in a crash, which is kind of crazy. A little bit after his friend died in stage 15, Lance won his second stage, but he eventually had to drop out because he became ill, which eventually, cancer, that'll do that.
Oh, shit.
Keeping in touch with all things going on, he gets married to Kristen, either Richard or Richard, depending on where she's from, in June of 97.
Oh, is that her name?
Yes, that's her name. They have 3 children together, and notable that the pregnancies were made possible through sperm that he had banked 3 years earlier prior to his chemo and prior to his surgery. So,
Whew. Way to think ahead.
just keep that in mind. And then the dominance begins, DC. He goes back to cycling in 98 and wins some other who gives a fuck cycling event.
Yeah.
But eventually, he returns to the only thing any of us care about, the Tour de France, and he wins in 1999. He wins the whole goddamn thing. He wins 4 stages. Turns around, come back in 2000, wins again. Not a problem. 2001, check. 2002, check. 2003, check. Knocking him off.
And then he's supposed to quit.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Seriously, the French are like, hey, you can only win 5, and then you have to fucking leave or something like that. They have some gay-ass rule that you can't come back. It's ridiculous.
Hard to believe the French would do that.
Yeah, right?
So taking a break from the dominance, just a quick love life update. He gets divorced from Who Gives a Fuck in 2003 and starts dating Sheryl Crow. That's great.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, didn't he, date Jewel? But it's basically the same person.
Close. It was close.
Yeah.
They got engaged in September of 05 and announced their split in February of 06. So not the longest engagement, but not the shortest.
No. Right.
All right, back to the dominance. 2004. And there's, you can tell, I skipped quickly through all these victories. And that's because all of them come with stories like this. In 2004, he finished first. He was 6 minutes, 20 seconds ahead of second place. He won a personal best 5 individual stages. He won the team trial. He became the first biker since 48 to win 3 consecutive mountain stages of the Tour de France. I listened to, I forget the doctor's name now, but he was on Rogan talking about like the physical exertion and all the levels that it takes to do this. And it's like, it's just stupid, right? It's stuff that your body's not meant to do. Right. And so many of these years that Lance won, there are stories just like that, where he started a stage a few minutes behind one of his rivals, or he fell and had to come back or do all this stuff, but he's a fucking winning machine. So it didn't matter. 2005, which was his 7th and final championship, was crazy. He was pushed all the way to the back of the pack, and was facing a bunch of non-roided guys, obviously. Definitely not the whole sport doing it.
Right.
He still
Why would
prevails.
they? Right.
He's getting pushed around by all these different guys in different stages, right? You got just different fucking robots coming after you where they're good. But he holds them all back, and he wins his 7th straight championship. And he goes out on top, and he goes out with this message.
The cynics and the skeptics, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry you can't dream big, and I'm sorry you don't believe in miracles. But this is one hell of a race. This is a great sporting event, and you should stand around and believe.
You should just stand around and believe. That's what
nice bracelet. That's some good photoshopping right there.
I had to make up for the
you did
last week.
You did. What happened to your thumb though?
It's holding the flag up, I guess. If we actually stopped and looked at all the scribble lines and all the DC photoshops, okay? All right.
Why don't we? Call me out.
We should. We definitely should. So, as any great athlete doesn't know when to quit. We've seen this time and time again. Lance announces his comeback in 2008. I'm going to return to pro cycling.
They lost their fucking minds. I'm coming back. They're like, you have won enough. You cannot win anymore. Like, all right, French, relax.
He starts prepping for the Tour de France. Breaks his collarbone at his first day. Not off to a good start, but he does make it to the Tour de France. And as any goddamn gentleman would, even though he wasn't in peak condition, he's coming off an injury, he had retired and presumably not trained for a while. Motherfucker never gets the yellow jacket, but still finishes 3rd in the race.
Damn.
And by the way, and I told you this would come back, still a motherfucking stud, gets his wife pregnant twice. New wife.
Damn.
Gets married, gets her pregnant
5
twice.
5 kids.
1 nut, 2 more kids.
That's the biggest achievement that he's had.
That's right. And he's not done riding yet. Talking bicycles again. He announces that for Team Radio Shack, he's going to race in the 2010.
Jesus Christ.
I knew you were going to love that.
Team Blockbuster. That's really funny.
So 2010, he races for Team Radio Shack. He says it's going to be his last, of course. Imagine if you.
That's what Radio Shack always says. They're like, all right, this is going to be our last year. We're going to shut it down after this fiscal year.
I'm pretty sure if any, I'm going to go into motorsports, right? Because we're talking cycling. Mm-hmm. If any NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, if any of those series had a Radio Shack car win a race in the last 7 years, the sport would have been shut down. I would have been like, no, they cannot possibly be competing here. This can't be true.
What kind of money do they have?
So he races for Radio Shack. He says, this is my last one. And he wrecks a bunch of times. He's mired in the pack, and then you're around all the plebs back there, and they're knocking you over.
Right.
He finishes 40 minutes after the winner, but the team still wins overall. So Radio Shack comes home with a trophy. It's great. And at this point, he announces his retirement from competitive cycling for good. And now he's facing these allegations for doping, which we have glossed over to this point.
Mm-hmm.
He was accused for most of his career. Eventually, he went on Oprah, and I didn't want to take had Oprah clips bounce back Tom Cruise and others.
Right.
I didn't want to.
Dude, did you know that using an Oprah meme is considered like digital blackface? Like you'll get in trouble for using
Jesus
like
Christ.
a Kevin Hart meme or something stupid like that now.
That's
you know what?
That's not surprising that it's reached that point. Yeah,
Yeah, it is
that makes
explaining.
sense. It's appropriation. It's meme appropriation is what it is.
Yeah, it is. If you're not black, you cannot express your feelings through a black person because we are all the same, buddy.
That's right.
So don't you try to be like us.
And don't forget it. So we're just going to bypass the Oprah thing with this clip, which I found on YouTube, just trying to research. I feel like someone edited this, but I felt like it was actually a worthy recap of the interview.
A lot of people think you're doing this interview because you want to come back to the sport.
The answer's hell yes.
Okay.
You were a crazy bitch.
Jerk
Prick.
cocky.
Okay, so I'm not sure what that was, but I think it was unedited. I'm not sure.
That somebody must have lost their job for that. You can't let that in.
So
You don't call Lance Armstrong a prick.
you absolutely do not. So he is notorious for being, what do we want to call it? Let's call it proactive in his defense of himself and his sport. Some might describe it as difficult. Most others would use a worse word. But either way, he's always ready for a battle. And let's start in 2005.
In court.
Why don't you give me the definition of what you're using when you say you've never taken any performance-enhancing substances? What would that include? Anything
that
banned?
would have include. Well, it would include anything on the banned list.
Okay.
Good answer.
For example,
if I was his lawyer, I'd be
that
like, "Good answer,
include that
Family
you've
Feud style."
Never,
Good answer,
used
Lance.
your own blood for doping purposes, for example.
Absolutely, that would be banned.
Okay. I'm not trying to agitate you. I'm just trying to make sure your testimony is clear.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so those guys didn't get along, but he you can tell he likes to go back and forth with people.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a former cyclist named Paul Kamaj who became a journalist. And at a 2009 press conference for the Tour de California, which Lance was involved in, he's asking Lance a question. And the question has to do with Lance's apparent soft spot for a couple of guys who had been found to be doping or had admitted it in some way or another. But you can tell that this guy clearly has some kind of a problem with Lance, and he asks the question in his own special way.
What is it about these dopers that you seem to admire so much?
Excuse me? What is your name again?
My name is Paul Kimmage. I work for the Sunday Times. I asked for an interview, but I didn't get one.
So that's mean. That's unfortunate. He didn't get his interview. First, Lance addresses Paul.
Right, and just as a little preface, I might just clear up one thing. The reason you didn't get it, Paul, I wanted to make sure that was you because I don't know what you look like. When I decided to come back, for what I think is a very noble reason, you said, folks, the cancer has been in remission for 4 years, but our cancer has now returned, meaning me.
We knew what he meant.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Yeah, we knew what he meant. Now, Lance, as you can imagine, not thrilled about the word cancer being thrown around with that much nonchalance, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to Paul. But a gentleman is always a gentleman.
So I think it goes without saying, no, we're not going to sit down and do an interview. And I don't think anybody in this room would sit down for that interview. You are not worth the chair that you're sitting on with a statement like that, with a disease that touches everybody around the world. Now, to answer your question.
Gentlemen, goddamn.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Gets right back
Fuck
to
you,
it.
Paul. Fuck you, Paul.
Nothing more dangerous than a well-spoken sociopath, TC.
Yep. Because you got a memory like a steel trap.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're off the list.
And by the way, the subtle, what's your name? Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure it was you because I have no idea what you look like.
I don't have a picture of you on my wall that I throw knives at or anything like that, Paul, or anything like that. It wasn't me who asked that you sit there and get a special question with nobody else raising their hand. Nah, I didn't do that at all, Paul.
No,
let me quote you. You said, and I quote, on July 14th.
I don't think Lance read his own press clippings. I don't know what you're talking about. So he continues to deny the use of all the performance enhancers and mainly blood doping, right? Whatever the cycle of the blood, and you can get replenished throughout the race or whatever the fuck is going on there. He's described himself.
They cycled their blood.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, they take some blood out and then they mix the stuff in with the blood and then they put the blood back in and it kind of like helps rejuvenate lactose levels. I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
Obviously, I'm talking about my ass. I could have researched all this, but I skipped it because you guys can look it up. It's out there.
They put leeches on him, like as he was writing.
Yes.
The bad blood's got to go.
So, from his return to cycling in 2008, when he got crashed multiple times, through 2009, he claimed to have undergone 24 different tests. And, I like that he picked out that time frame because it's like no one's worried about the years prior to 2008. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
At one point, he had started working with a trainer, Michel Ferrari, who is he's an Italian cyclist and swim trainer, I believe. Now, he had a bit of a reputation that I'll describe as he's best known for finding definitely legal ways to make athletes better. That would be my way of describing it. After their partnership was announced, the entire sport was not outraged by it, which is good. Greg LeMond did not describe himself as devastated by the news. And Tour de France organizer Jean-Marie Leblanc did not say, I'm not happy that those two names are mixed. So it was good. Everybody seemed to feel great about it. He, being Ferrari, is banned from working with cyclists in his home country of Italy, so that's not great. Lance was like, morally can't be working with this guy, even though he definitely kept working with him for a while. But a gentleman is always loyal? Question mark? Sometimes not to their benefit, because Cycling News came out with a story, and before I read it, Cycling News? Come on.
Oh, God.
Fuck
I bet
outta
Paul
here.
writes for them.
So, this is the quote from Cycling News. USADA reveals an intimate role played by Dr. Michel Ferrari in masterminding Armstrong's Tour de France success. According to the USADA report, Armstrong paid Ferrari over $1 million from 96 to 06, countering Armstrong's claim that he severed the professional relationship in 2004. The report also includes numerous eyewitness accounts of Ferrari injecting Armstrong with EPO on a number of occasions. His self-defense continued, DC.
Multiple witnesses, numerous occasions. Those are terrible. Terrible for him.
You hate to hear that, but he's going to tell you why that didn't happen.
I've said it for 7 years. I've said it for longer than 7 years. I have never doped. If you consider my situation, a guy who comes back from arguably a death sentence, why would I then enter into a sport and dope myself up and risk my life again? That's crazy. I would never do that. That's no way.
Obviously not.
He's a really good liar.
It's really
totally
is.
ridiculous. He's a fantastic liar. He didn't break eye contact with the camera lens. That's hard to do when you're just, doing a podcast.
When you're telling the truth. Yeah. Now this book comes out, 2004. LA Confidential, standing for, obviously, Lance Armstrong. Couple of guys come out with the book. It's got all this detailed information about him using drugs at this point, at that point, from U.S. Postal Service up, past times at Motorola. He's accused a lot.
Yeah.
And of a lot. Backdated prescriptions for cortisone. 1999 urine sample that was tainted. Medical certificate showing that he used an approved cream for saddle sores, which contain illegal substances, and that was a good one. Let's get into that one.
He probably has saddle sores.
No, let's hold on, DC. Just hold on. So there's this girl that had worked with him, her last name being O'Reilly. I took a few things out here. So O'Reilly said that she'd heard team officials worrying about Armstrong's positive test for steroids during the 1999 Tour de France. She said, quote, they were in a panic saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? According to her, the solution was to get one of their compliant doctors to issue a predated prescription for a steroid-based ointment to combat saddle sores. He said she would have known if Armstrong had saddle sores, as she would have administered any treatment for that, and she hadn't. She said that Armstrong told her, quote, Oh, Emma, that's her name. Now, Emma, you know enough to bring me down, end quote. O'Reilly said on other occasions she was asked to dispose of used syringes and asked to pick up strange packages for the team.
That's cool.
So maybe not saddle sores, DC.
Yeah.
2005, the urine tests of the Tour de France. This is the big one. Not for the 2005 test, but in 2005, a big expose in a French paper comes out. We all remember when this happened.
Yeah, I do.
Detailing
It ruined me.
The frozen tests from '99. They go through this whole thing of tainted substances. Excuse me. I've been sick for a week. I'm almost past it. The French lab that was conducting all of these tests goes under huge investigation.
How fucked is it that like this guy who just like wins a few races or whatever, like they go into like this crazy investigation into his labs, but like Wuhan is just off the hook. Like,
yeah, it's fine.
Killed millions. Like
Totally fine.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. The IOC is looking into this. The World Anti-Doping Agency is now looking into this. And a Dutch lawyer named Emile Veerman is set to investigate. You're going to handle this. You're going to figure out what happened with these urine tests in France in '99. We're going to find out what exactly is going on. His report clears Lance completely because of improper handling and testing. The report said tests on the urine samples were conducted improperly and fell so short of scientific standards that it was completely irresponsible to suggest that they could constitute evidence of anything. A gentleman is always what, DC?
He's always fucking acquitted. Thank you.
There it
Thank
is.
you.
But obviously,
the word indicted on my mind for no reason
obviously-
other than all these drinks I've been having.
Sure, and you still, we still get to hear your.
Oh,
nominee. I'm
buddy,
excited
don't
for
you
that.
worry about that. Don't you worry about that.
Obviously, not really acquitted. The samples were really clear that something was up, and it might be unrelated that Dutch guy Emile spent the next 10 years of his career making a lot of money defending dopers. So don't worry about that.
Totally
unrelated.
Yeah.
June 2006, French newspaper Le Monde reported claims by Betsy and Frankie Andrew during a deposition that Lance had admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs to his physician just after brain surgery when they took those lesions out of there. The testimony stated, quote, "And so the doctor asked him a few questions, not many. And then one of the questions he asked was, have you ever used any performance-enhancing drugs? And Lance said yes. And the doctor said, what were they? And Lance said, growth hormones, cortisone, EPO, steroids, testosterone. So, not
whatever they had.
Yeah, whatever was available at the time, or I could find somebody to get. Armstrong suggested that Betsy was confused with his post-operative treatment, which she wasn't. None of us were.
Yeah, no, we all knew.
Sorry, Lance. I was rooting for you on that one, but it didn't work out. He does go under federal investigation. This is the whole Jeff Nowitzki thing, which got huge play. Again, to mention Rogan, when he did that 3-hour Rogan just going over this whole thing. That was huge. But once again, no charges are brought. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Then the USADA investigation begins. And now we have a problem. June 2012. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, accuses Lance of doping and trafficking drugs based on blood samples from 2009 and 10. Just retire.
Damn it. God, dude.
Just retire.
That's why they did it, because they were so mad that he didn't follow the rule of gentlemanliness that one time. Obviously a gentleman everywhere else, but you're winning
Clearly,
too much.
yeah,
You're winning
that's
too much,
true.
and now we're going to take you down specifically when we know everybody else does it.
Targeting. Testimony from witnesses, including former teammates, also played a role here. Further, he was accused of putting pressure on teammates to take the same things he was doing. October of 2012, USADA formally charges him with running a massive doping ring, bans him from participating in WADA-sanctioned events, and Lance does not appeal. That's the first sense of, okay, this might be done. Says he didn't want the toll on his family to, he thought it would be too large. This strips him of all of his achievements from 1998 August onward, including his 7 Tour de France titles. After years of public denial, he does that interview with Oprah that we already saw in a perfect rendition. He has kind of a limited confession. He didn't really admit to pressuring teammates. He didn't talk about a lot of the behavioral things. But it was over for him anyway. USADA report comes out. All of his sponsors drop him. He lost $75 million in sponsorship in one day. Like, I'm going to make $75 million this year. Oh, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not. That sucks. He got the old Tiger Woods.
He did, and worse.
Oh, yeah, because he's white, so there's no redemption for him.
That's absolutely true. Now let's get to this shithead. This is the non-gentleman of the week. Floyd Landis. Can't stand this guy. He's one of Lance's former teammates. In 2010, Floyd sends a series of emails to cycling officials and sponsors admitting to and detailing all of his use of performance-enhancing drugs throughout his career. And of course, these emails also claim that other riders and cycling officials participated, including Lance Armstrong.
Up to and including everybody.
Yeah, every single person. But of course, Lance is mentioned by name. Now, just a little
it's the only name anybody knows in that whole sport. The entire sport. It's the only name anybody knows.
And I'll prove it to you. Everyone in cycling should have known this guy already. I'm sure they did. Because in 2006, he was found doping and his championship Tour de France win was stripped from him.
Oh, bummer.
So 4 years later, he's like, oh, I cheated, guys. Yeah, we know, bitch. You narc.
Yeah, we know that. You said how many times he poked you in the arm with the needles and how many times you poked him. We know.
That's right. Now, DC, this is
the most recent standing trophy for the Tour de France is like 1987.
Yes, it's really true. Now, DC, this is some of the biggest bullshit I've ever seen.
Oh,
not really, but just, effect. Landis, it's a dick move though. So Landis files a federal whistleblower lawsuit against Lance under the Federal False Claims Act. Now, the False Claims Act allows a citizen to sue someone else on behalf of the government, alleging that the government has been ripped off. What a dick move that is.
By the government. To allow that. We're going to actually, in case you catch something we don't, you can sue on our behalf. Also, if you win, we're going to tax that at like 75%.
That's right.
You're welcome.
So in the lawsuit, Floyd alleges that Lance and team managers defrauded the U.S. government by accepting sponsorship money from, of course, the U.S. Postal Service. And in 2013, the U.S. Justice Department officials recommend joining this lawsuit to try to get their money back. You hate to see that. Yep. In February, the U.S. Justice Department goes, yep, you know what? We're in. Let's dive into this. Now, obviously, litigation goes on for a while. June 2014, U.S. District Judge Robert Witkins denies Lance's request to dismiss the government case, saying the court denies without prejudice the defendant's motion to dismiss the government's action as time barred. In February of 2017, the court determined that the federal government, who were suing for $100 million in their civil lawsuit, would proceed to trial. We're going to trial for this. And the matter was settled in April of 2018 when Lance agreed to pay. How much do you think he had to agree to pay to get this out of court?
They sued for $100 million?
Yep.
I don't know, 30 million?
Five.
Wow, he got off the hook easy.
It's a goddamn gentleman, DC.
It must have been all he had left.
Yeah, could be. During the proceedings, it was revealed that he had made $31 million alone in sponsorship from the USPS between 2001 and 2004. He was accused of violating his contract with them and committing fraud when he denied all of his usage over and over and over again. And
That's ironic
Floyd,
considering the USPS probably paid him all that $31 million in little kids' cash that their employees stole out of birthday cards. So
that's great. I like the thought that the mailman's giving it to the boss at the end of the day.
Here's my earnings, boss. Yeah, they all go. They all like do the little paper clock out thing too, because it's a United States Postal Service job. Oh my God.
Worst part about this, Floyd Landis receives $1.1 million for his role in the lawsuit.
Receives?
Yeah.
What a
Now,
dick.
just take a listen to Floyd, just for a second. I couldn't let this go.
You spoke about his mindset and how he could be an unpleasant person to be around. How would you describe his personality?
He's a bully. I wouldn't give him any credit other than that.
Why?
He has a sense of entitlement that defies any kind of reason. I've never met anyone like it, and I don't hope to meet anyone else like it.
Where do you think it comes from?
I don't even care.
Yeah,
Come
what
on.
a cuck. What
That's
a
the guy who
fucking
took him
cuck.
down.
He
Come
doesn't
on.
even look like he's ever been on a piece of workout equipment, let alone
It's
a
true.
real bike.
I
That
think
could go somewhere.
It's really true. I think Bill Burr summed it up way better.
The top 20 guys like all tested positive for roids. So our roided up guy beat your roided up guy.
Yeah, goddamn
Yep.
right. Back
That's
to America.
Exactly fucking right. That's why I don't care. Barry Bonds, best hitter of all time. Roids do not make you better at hitting that ball, and fuck could he hit that ball. So
he could
you.
could hit it. Years later, Lance admits to most of the wrongdoing in 2015. He did a detailed sit-down interview talking about a lot of it. And he was asked an interesting question.
When it comes to the doping, would you do it again?
You know, if I was racing in 2015, no, I wouldn't do it again. Because I don't think you have to do it again. If you take me back to 1995, when it was completely and totally pervasive, I'd probably do it again.
Now, DC, he cited a lot of reasons for that. And the main one, we all know it, and it's the great elephant in the room, and that is his charitable work throughout his career. He has helped raise somewhere north of $500 million for people afflicted with cancer. It might be closer to $1 billion, but it's certainly over half of that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't think he's a gentleman, then you like children's cancer, and that's my nomination.
That's exactly
Thank you.
right. Yeah, dude. Oh, that's so funny. It's like, would you do it again? Like, well, considering I can right now just look at my email and decide to make $150,000 from this jackass that's asking me to speak at their convention, yeah, I would do it again.
Yeah,
because I'm famous.
That's right. That's right.
I shit money now. I don't care.
DC, that's Lance Armstrong, my nomination.
Who did not make the cut for you this week?
Couple of quick honoraries for you. First off, this is from whatever the PGA event was last week. DJ, Dustin Johnson, and Rory McIlroy chilling on tee box here with their caddies, and we have a surprise cameo from a gentleman. Here we go.
Oh shit! Is it John Daly?
Oh, not a past gentleman, just an honorary.
Oh.
So here comes that guy. Oh, only got the club head cover. Gonna come back. What is that, an 8-iron? Cool.
6-iron. Yeah. Yeah. I read about this story today. I'm so glad there's video of it.
They're like,
wait.
America. That guy got away. Not really.
If you can dress the part, here's a little DC tip for everybody listening right now. If you can act like you're supposed to be there, people will let you get away with anything you want. You could walk right into a business and just walk past the receptionist right down the hall. As long as you don't look at her, I guess in a weird world it could be him. But if you don't look at her and like you just go right down the hall, like you know where the fuck you're going, they're just gonna be like, oh, that guy must be new. Oh, that guy must, depending on how you're dressed, oh, that guy must be corporate. If you walk into anywhere with a suit on, it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah, anything.
You are
anything
going
you want.
anywhere you want to go. You just
walk into
right
anyone's
there.
delivery room. It doesn't matter if you have a suit on. You're allowed.
They're like,
He
oh
must
shit,
run
I
the
knew this
hospital."
kid. I knew the FBI wanted this kid. Let's get out of here. You know? Exactly right.
DC, my other honorary nominee. I have two questions for you, and I need answers after. How did we get to this point? What happens next?
Ooh.
Only with
What the fuck? Oh, what?
This nigga is pulling.
Oh!
So we have a naked guy pull the bumper off a moving car, and then the strut away after punching with business.
Okay.
DC, how did we get to that point?
Drugs.
And what happens next? Well, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we got there by drugs, and what happens next is PCB Angel Dust ripped that bumper right off. Did anybody else notice how it just seemed like he was ripping a plastic cover off of like a fake car? Like that's what it looked. It looked
so
like a
easy.
rubber mat that he was just ripping off of that Honda Fit.
He did not have a hard time. All right, DC, that's it. I took up a lot of time. That's it for me. A nomination and some honoraries.
I love it. Oh, fantastic work. All right, I've got 4 honoraries, Casey, and I wanted to start out hot. If you'll cue up the video, I have a placeholder, I think. No, I don't, but that's fine. Casey, you remember the skydiving video where that guy Superman saved his knocked out friend from that jackass?
Absolutely.
I've outdone myself in skydiving video finds this week. This is video footage of a skydive gone wrong from 3 different GoPros, and I've just lined them right up. Go ahead.
Oh, the plane just... What the hell just happened? The plane hit another... Oh, the plane hit another plane. No? Oh, yeah. Yep.
The last video is my favorite. Shit. This is really the craziest angle from the other plane.
Do you see the plane coming up below it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Boom! Boom!
Shit.
Everybody landed safely.
Wow. Yeah,
But still 3.6 from Russian Olympic
Okay.
judge DC.
Now, before we move on.
Yeah.
What the fuck are those fingers holding up that sign? That's a disaster.
Yeah.
Also, your
there's
hand is
4 of
backwards.
them.
Also, your hand is backwards.
It isn't. It isn't backwards. That's my left hand. Hold your left hand in a thumbs up down, and your fingers will be facing forward. What does my what does my hand look like?
The other hand's a disaster.
Yeah, it is a disaster. You're right. The pinky is fucked. I went way too thick on the lines.
Yes.
Look at my decimal point on the 3.6 because I was like, fuck,
It's
it looks
giant.
like 36. I'm like, how am I going to get a... fuck. Just give me the rectangle tool. I'll put a point in there. I think I put it after the 3 first, and it looked so weird, and I'm OCD like you, so I moved it until it finally felt decent.
It looks
But every
great.
time I'm wearing a hat, I have to redraw in my hairline. I'm pretty proud about that. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good hairline.
Yeah. Trash.
It's trash. All right, Casey, next video. How was your 4th of July, Casey? Probably better than this guy's in this next video. Got a convertible sitting at a red light on 17th North.
Yeah.
White car pulls up next to him. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Oh, hey, happy 4th of July,
He just threw a
bud.
firework in his convertible. Oh, no way.
Yeah, I would kill that guy. I would have fucking chased him
Holy
down.
Shit.
Fucking killed him.
Yep.
Casey, if you
That's
didn't know,
hilarious.
in addition to it being the 4th of July, it's also hurricane season down here in the South. And Louisiana's governor is here to give us some safety tips with the help of his FEMA administrator.
Hurricane season is here, and the time to prepare is now. In Louisiana, we know what hurricanes can do to our communities and the importance of having an emergency plan and taking the steps to ready yourselves, your family, and your community.
You can take simple steps to prepare for hurricanes, including getting a COVID-19 vaccine.
All right. All right, I'm done. I don't need to hear anything more about your hurricanes. You fucking idiots.
Come on. Get the fuck out of here.
How obvious can you get with that shit? It's so ridiculous. If you want to protect yourself from dog attacks, all you have to do is first of all, get a COVID-19 vaccine.
I've got a couple of great clips just like that for our ladies show coming up this week.
Good.
A couple of great little COVID, get your COVID shot clips.
Have you ever thought about investing in your future? Well, get a COVID-19 shot before you invest any money in the stock market.
Have you or anyone you know been affected by mesothelioma? If so, get a COVID-19 vaccination now.
And then email us. Oh my God. All right, Casey. Another one of my favorite segments, which last week was Meanwhile in India. I'm pretty sure this is India, but I've named it Meanwhile in a country somewhere south of First World. This has no sound, so that's pretty structurally sound.
Are they on?
A bridge built out of cardboard. Look at that. Everybody survived. Everybody's like getting up. They're like, oh, that was kind of a nice landing. It's just cardboard held up by bamboo.
Horrible idea.
Bridged. That was like a janky card house.
It was worse than that.
All the poles were like holding everything up at an angle like this to start with.
It was never going to work. It was never going to work.
So that's all of my honoraries, Casey. Oh man. Without further ado, I would like to prepare for my gentleman nomination. I'm going to do up my...
Unbuttoning your shirt?
No, doing up the top button. I'm going to make it a little tighter in the collar. Get rid of this hat here and just maybe... Casey, my nomination, Kim Il-sung, the great leader. Casey, I tried to make my hair look as Kim Jong-Un as I could. It's pretty close. It's pretty good. Casey, we're going to do a little bit of a history lesson because I was fascinated when I was looking into what I've called the Kim dynasty. I'm sure no one else has called it that. North Korea used to be, back in the Lot days of 2000 BC, there was this leader whose name was Dangun. How cool is that?
Nice.
Emperor Dangun founded the Joseon dynasty, basically founded Japan. Like, I didn't know that the Japanese were basically like all the wealthy Koreans or something like that, but pretty much most ancestry dates back to Korea, and it's only 600 miles east of Korea, that being Japan. The Shilla overtook Korea in 668 CE or AD, whatever you like to say, unifying the nation. It used to be just a bunch of different, like, three kingdoms. They unified under this Shilla, and until 1238, they were just this one Shilla dynasty, right?
That's a good run.
The Mongols, that was an impressive run until the Mongols attacked, and in 1392, Joseon dynasty lasted until 1910. That's the craziest. That's the craziest run because so much shit was going on. Shit like from 1592 to 98, Japan invaded, but with the help of the Chinese, the Koreans were able to fend them off. But the Chinese turn around in 1620 and basically just take over. They're like, yeah, you guys are like Chinese now. So they didn't annex them, but they definitely took over. And it wasn't until the 1870s when Japan tried like 300 years later to take over Korea again. And this time they were successful because I don't know if you have ever seen the movie Last Samurai, but after the Civil War, this is where I learned this, after the Civil War, the United States basically had a whole shit ton of Civil War guns and armor and cannons and shit like that, old technology. We've moved on. right?
Mhm.
We're invading the Mexicans. We don't care about the Civil War much anymore. It's all about the Alamo. So we give Japan all this like military training and military artillery, and they're like, oh fuck yeah, okay, now we're gonna go take over Korea on our way to taking over Japan or taking over China. Sorry, it's all the same to me. So they totally take over Korea, and now they by 1905 have basically forced Korea into signing this treaty that puts them under the protection of Japan, and it just paves the way for them to annex Korea in 1910. So that's why it lasted until 1910. In 1910, they became a part of Japan, and until World War II. So World War II, you may not have heard, but Japan got their asses kicked by the United States. And after that happened, Japan relinquished control of Korea, and the Allies were like, yeah, Korea's free. That's great. Now it can be communist. Oh, wait, no. United States doesn't want that. They got to be democratic. The United Nations say so. Russia's like, well, I mean, we kind of got into Berlin first, so we should probably be allowed to take the north part of Korea, and it's communist now. And same thing as East Germany. The wall of Berlin came down in the early 90s, late 80s, something like
80s,
that.
I think.
Late 80s. Or maybe early 80s, who the fuck knows. But no, I think it was late 80s because the Soviet Union fell in 91. So good for Germany. North Korea, not so lucky. The 38th parallel, that line was drawn. The United States had a hard no on communism at the time. 1945, obviously, when World War II ended, the Russians and United States split Korea evenly, and they had this commission, basically, that was equal parts Russian and United States, where they would get together and talk about the rule of Korea, with the intention that after the 5 years in 1950, they would pull out and Korea would be left to their own devices. But the UN only recognized South Korea as the whole Korean government, with Seoul as the capital, and the Russians only recognized Pyongyang and North Korea as the Korean government. So in 1950, once this treaty was over and the United States pulled out, the North Koreans, along with the help of the Russians, invaded South Korea with tanks, and it took no time at all. It was just like, boom, done. It just took them all over. And really, Korea, like, the United States already occupied Japan. They had the Philippines. They had Australia. I mean, the United States did not need Korea, but it was a matter of principle. Like, we are not going to let the communists come and just run us out, basically. And the Russians decided that they were going to go with their man, Kim Il-sung, who was either a commander or a general or whatever, a high-ranking official in World War II for the Soviet Army. How he got there, we'll get into, but that's basically the setting for separating North Korea into a communist nation and South Korea into a democratic nation. Wink, wink. Where the United States just said, like, "Hey, this anti-communist guy who was exiled from Korea during the Japanese stationing." We're just going to fly him back into South Korea, and he's your president now. I don't think they even voted for him. I think the United States just
democratic,
said,
though.
yeah, we voted for him. So up top you had the Russians, and down below you had Israel. I mean, the United States. So it really worked out. It really worked out for the South Koreans, except that Seoul happens to be only like 60 miles away from the 38th parallel. So all of the missiles in North Korea are pointed at South Korea and Seoul, where, I mean, it's 10 million plus people in Seoul, Korea. So it's a big problem, and people are still just drinking themselves to death, and the suicide rates are super high because, as you can imagine, it's a very stressful place to live. Kim Il-sung, right? There's a lot of misinformation about Kim Il-sung. He was huge into propaganda, but even so, like, the lies still creeped in. People claim that he was born in Pyongyang in 1912, but really he's Almighty God. He created the world in 7 days, and he's immortal. So he could not have been born anywhere.
And based on this picture, after he did anything, he said, that's all, folks.
Yep, he did. He said that. He invented that. But the capitalist pigs made him look like a pig and called him Porky the Pig, so that's where that came from.
Got it.
In 1988, so he took over in 1950. In 1988, he was voted the eternal president of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. I like how they snuck that in.
Nice.
Yeah. And in 1998, 4 years after his death, or 4 years after he decided not to run the country as a physical person anymore, it was written into the Constitution that he would forever be the president of the state and the government there. So North Korea is, in fact, a necrocracy. So that's pretty cool. There are 500 statues of Kim Il-sung across North Korea. One of the most famous ones is like fucking 50 feet high. It's just ridiculous bronze statue of him. And then you got his son, which we'll get to later. He's really the hero of this nomination. He controlled the sun. He made it rise every morning for the Korean people. So that was nice of him.
Did he ever get mad and not bring it out?
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did once or twice, and anyone who doesn't remember that is probably no longer on the earth. So, he controlled the weather, obviously. I mean, he controlled the sun, so weather is easy by comparison. In 1932 to 1945, during the Japanese occupation, he fought and won over 100,000 battles against the Japanese in 13 years. Over 100,000. Yeah, it was. It calculates to just a little bit over 20 battles a day.
That's
every
so
day,
many battles
for 13 years. It's incredible. He's an amazing man. He is truly. I had to really reach after John McAfee, who I thought was the most gentlemanly person you could ever find. It's not true. I found God, so I'm bringing him in today. But what about the Korean War, right? Because we kind of already talked about how they invaded South Korea, they blew them out of the water, but if you know anything about history, you know that the United States backed South Korea and drove their asses all the way back. Douglas MacArthur was a badass. He drove them all the way to the Chinese border of North Korea. In fact, he crossed the 38th parallel and was like, fuck you, we're going to drive you all the way. And at the time, I want to say it's Eisenhower, but I'm probably wrong. Fuck. Anyway, the president at the time told him, hey, dude, you're a little bit outspoken about this whole drive North Korea and communism out of Korea entirely. We have, a treaty to think about with the Russians. We drove them north. All we want is South Korea. All we want is, Seoul, as long as they're safe. That's okay.
They're like a football coach. Like, listen, you're a great blocker. And when you take that defensive end and you drive him 15 yards down the field on a run play, that's great for us. But when you drive him 45 yards out of bounds, you might get a penalty. You might get us in trouble.
You might get a penalty. So let's play within the rules here. Douglas MacArthur said, I'm a 5-fucking-star general. You're not going to tell me what the fuck to say. So
Put that bitch in the stands.
He continued to be outspoken about this and was relieved of duty by Eisenhower. God,
Eisenhower
who was
sounds
the other one?
right.
Who dropped the bomb?
Truman.
Okay, so it was either Truman or Eisenhower. It was one of those two for sure. But he relieved him of duty, and it was so egregious to the American people because MacArthur was such a fucking hero. Is like him and Patton, right? They couldn't buy a drink if they tried to do it. he almost got impeached because of the decision to relieve him of his duties there. So huge deal, but everything is kind of, back to normal. And he explains, he being Kim Il-sung, he explains to the people that he never attacked South Korea. That's a lie from the capitalists. They were so jealous of him that they attacked him, and he fended them off. He fended off the United States and the United Nations. There's no way that they were going to take over his people on his watch.
No,
Never.
well, we're already aware that assuming he took days off during that 13-year stretch, that there were days he fought 40 battles for his people.
That's right. That's
At
exactly
a minimum.
right.
So
At a
like there's
minimum,
there's no doubt that he would fight to the very last.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And Casey, when he was new to the gig, this is basically the same time frame. What's the first rule of being the new guy on the throne? First rule.
Feels like don't fuck up, right?
Don't fuck up. That's a good one. But also kill all the opposition. First thing you do.
Yeah.
New on the throne, you gotta do your interviews, figure out who's loyal, kill all the rest, right? Mm-hmm. So he does that. He finds out that the Soviet Union is now kind of backing this new leader of the Communist Party, and he doesn't like that. And I didn't like his name because I kept having to write it down. It's Pak Yan-yang. Pak Yan-yang.
Okay, yeah. Sounds assassinatable.
Yeah, that fucker got killed. So he was gone. Let's see here. Anyone who wouldn't confess that Kim Il-sung wasn't divine would be murdered on the spot because that's heresy. And in 1994, as I said, Casey, our true gentleman comes in. Now we get into 1994, a terrible, terrible day, or terrible year rather, when our great leader is no longer in his physical form. As we said, he was already voted the eternal leader. So his son, who is the goddamn hero of this fucking nomination, Kim Jong-Il. Oh,
you know what? You did good on your hair, actually.
Stud.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did good.
I tried. It's I tried to flatten it out on top. It was very spiky, so I had to kind of, anyway. Kim Jong-il could not escape the liars, just like his father. The liars tried to tell everybody that he was born in 1941 in Russia, when in actuality he was born on the side of a volcano on the North Korea-China border.
Nice.
I mean, why anybody would think he would be born in the same place as where his parents were at the time of his birth is just stupid. It's just a stupid thing to think.
And the fact that his dad was the king, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, clearly it's less likely he would have good medical attention and more likely that he would be born on the side of a volcano.
Yes, absolutely right. So, badass birth story.
Fucking liars, dude. I'm sick of it.
I'm sick of it too. And I'm here to get the truth out once and for all. There was a new star that was born and lit up the sky when he was born. Winter changed instantly to spring when he was born. And there was a double rainbow, which happens all the time anyway. I don't know why anybody put that in there. It's really stupid.
That was a terrible ad.
Yeah. Like,
Jesus
winter changes spring and double rainbow also. And it rained.
Jesus turned water into wine. He turned loaves of bread into fish. And he told Sarah to have a great morning. Whatever the fuck it was. I don't remember what it was. But
he turned fish and bread into more fish and bread. But yes, you had
all it was?
the right two things. Yeah, he just multiplied.
That's all it was.
Yeah,
motherfucker. But
he turned ice, and then he turned ice into water. Ooh. Okay, I could do that. Just leave it alone. So pretty awesome. He learned to walk. This isn't going to be. This isn't going to be strange to you to hear this because you wouldn't know, I don't think. But he learned to walk at 3 weeks old. Did you know that people don't walk at 3 weeks old?
I actually did know that one. Yep, that one I knew.
Okay.
That
and
one
also, Yeah, that now. And and he was talking at 8 weeks. So
that doesn't sound plausible.
No, especially since people are always lying about him stuttering and him not being a good talker. That's not true. He didn't stutter or ask to be kept out of like video highlights.
Mm-hmm. I would
at
imagine
all.
not.
He didn't.
I would imagine not.
He didn't do that at all because he was obviously brilliant. And also, liars wanted to say that the world record for youngest ever to walk is like 6 months. So
he
that's
blew that out of the water.
Blew it out of the water. Yeah, that was like 2015 that they were making news about that. Like, hadn't they heard already? Kim Jong-Il, get it together, guys.
He walked out of the vagina. Actually,
yeah, he walked out. He ran out. He was just as prolific as his father. He wrote 1,500 books in 3 years while he was in college. That's almost 2 books a day.
That's
So,
even more books
modest.
than I read in college.
Yeah, and he also wrote 6 full operas in 2 years, which were said to be, quote, all of which were better than anything in the history of music.
Wow.
Which
this is
ones?
a really talented family.
It is, and obviously the dear leader of Korea is coming up with these brilliant musical pieces. You know what were the operas called? One of them was Phantom of Stop Asking Questions, or I'm Gonna Kill Your Family. That was his most famous one. His first round of golf was the year that his dad died in 1994. He was 53 years old. Casey, how do you think he did? First round of golf. First time he'd ever golfed.
He probably, I don't know, 18 hole-in-ones?
Oh, close. 11 hole-in-ones. He hit a 38 under par.
That is
which is
really
a
good.
world record. Yeah, it's 4 times better than the best pro score. And it was on North Korea's only golf course. And he decided to hang it up forever after that. So, yeah, it was incredible.
Dude, the fact that they can pull this off is incredible.
Yeah,
so
well,
great.
Here's the thing. Not only, but there's proof. I came with proof, Casey. Not only of the golf, which is true, but of the singing. He was an amazing singer. His music was world renowned, and here's just a little bit of a taste of his prowess.
I'm the smartest, most clever, most physically fit, but nobody else seems to realize it. When I change the world, maybe they'll notice me.
That's good. That is
That's
really
beautiful.
good.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Tears, DC.
Yeah. It brought me to tears, that music. And the Liars, Casey, we'll get back to the Liars. They wanted to put out their own propaganda golf. Like, this is how the dear leader actually golfed. No one's going to believe this, but they put it out anyway. Next clip.
Oh, no!
Yeah, probably whoever that was probably kill themselves.
Oh boy, that's.
I don't think that was the dear leader.
Yep, and just for the record, because now we're doing this. What happened here?
That was a fill tool. I've tried to fill the space of the other arm that should have been there.
You filled half.
Yeah, and it just kind of it went where it wanted to. I was like,
and also, his arm's not connected.
No, it's not. That was a cut and paste. That's part of the shirt, I think, of the other. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you.
So now we.
But hey, that hand on the gun, and the angle of the gun with the hand is phenomenal.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Okay, thank you. At 16 years old, Kim Jong-Il built 20,000 of the most comfortable homes anyone has ever lived in. which in the time frame he did it was about 200 homes per day for months.
I can't figure out why they just like at a certain point, and it had to have been really early on, like with the father, like what exaggeration do we go with here? And they're like, well, the fuck them exaggeration, of course. 20,000 homes.
20,000 homes in months.
How many hole-in-ones do you think he had? 11.
Yeah.
What?
Well, we can't say 18. We can't say 18. You know, he had to have missed.
Like if this were a
almost
fake
half.
story here, right? yeah, almost half. If this were a fake story here, right? It's generic mom on Facebook making up lies about what her kid is doing, right? That would be it. Would be like, Jaden had such a great time playing golf today. He hit the ball 2 feet from the hole on one of them, right? That would be the big lie.
Yeah,
like, that
right.
would be like the extent she'd be willing. Like, no one will believe that he had a hole in one. That would be that. Even for me, that would be ridiculous. But they're like 11.
Like, he hit the flag stick and then it bounced off. Oh, so unlucky. You know that's the story you go with.
But they're like, no, he had 11 hole-in-ones. It's so great.
It's great, dude. And you know what? The most disrespectful part of the fuck you numbers is like Asians are so good at math. It's like there's no like immediately they would be like, no, that's impossible.
How many homes did he build? 20,000?
He was the first person who ever successfully rhymed the word imperial with superior. So that was pretty cool. In fact, all words. Oh, go ahead.
Well, if he did that, he was the last person to do it.
Yeah, well,
you didn't do it.
No, yeah, but I also pronounce imperial correctly. So, he never needed to pee or poo because his body was perfectly efficient. Not even his pre-incarnated. What's that? If you're reincarnated, what was the pre one? Is that what you say?
Precarnated.
Your precarnated body?
Yeah.
Even his great father couldn't say that. So, there are upgrades with the new models, apparently. The whole country wept when he died. I didn't take a video of this because it was just so ridiculous. But if you YouTube it,
they're great videos.
They really took it hard until you find out from some of the defectors that the government was paying people not only to learn how to grieve in a crazy manner, but anybody who didn't act like it was the end of the world on camera got sent to work camps for 6 months, which are still visible on Google Maps, by the way. They have a 3-class system where the most fortunate class that gets the best jobs, the best housing, their kids go to the best schools, all that, it's determined by your loyalty to the fucking state. So by definition, the dumbest people are getting the best jobs and all the best stuff, or the smartest liars who can,
That's right.
And they deserve it. They deserve every good that they have. When the communists took over from the Japanese, the first thing they did obviously was like take everybody's money and take everybody's land. The landowners were put in the very bottom of the fucking caste system because they were considered to be oppressors from the previous regime who were good with like the Japanese and they had all the money. So like, fuck you. You're going to the very bottom. We're taking all your land. We're taking all your money. And it's going to be impossible for you to earn any of that back because now you're ditch diggers who take the jobs only the second-class citizens don't want to take. That are like probably teachers and dentists and shit because they're not getting paid dentist money over in North Korea. It's just bad breath and bloody gums all day. Like that's probably a terrible job in Korea. But then you got the ditch diggers who used to be the richest in the land, the smartest because they reject the fucking communism out of hand. And really that's all I have to say on Kim Jong-Il. His son, I want to go into just a little bit. Current leader and only a general secretary, I think is his classification now. Kim Jong-Un. All right. Kim Jong-Un had a few achievements of his own, as you can imagine. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Kim Jong-Un was driving at the age 3. He won. Go ahead.
Yeah.
He won.
driving his head through the door as he crawled around like an idiot. Like he's fucking. He looks like there is nothing going on upstairs.
No, and I was trying to complete the haircut because my hair would have looked exactly like his. If I could have gotten like foundation or something into my hairline to make it look like skin, I wasn't going to shave my head like this just for the podcast because I got to go back to work. But you know, I should have. I've had haircuts on worse podcasts. So he intentionally. I'm sorry, I couldn't read my own handwriting there. He's an internationally famous musical artist.
And intentionally
Liars
as well.
Yeah, he's unintentionally famous because, you know, he's a humble guy. He's the most humble guy. Liars will say, what the fuck song has he ever written? But that's just the liars, you know, because they lie about shit like that. He won a yacht race at the age of 9, racing against the best in the world.
Good for him.
Probably wasn't tall enough to reach the controls, but
Bet you can't interview
that's what the liars.
Yeah,
No.
but you can't interview any of those guys.
Nope. At the bottom of the ocean, you can, if you can find them. Every nation celebrates his birthday, as you know. You know,
Well,
what's Kim Jong-Un's
naturally.
birthday? Did you get him something?
Yeah, it's coming up again, isn't it? Soon.
No.
It is at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Soon, like within the year. It's definitely coming up within the year.
It's definitely coming up soon.
His birthday's probably tomorrow. I have no fucking idea. It could be coming up soon. Because obviously he's universally loved and adored as one of the world's greatest of all-time leaders. So, Kim Jong-Il, it's so hard to fucking keep these straight. Kim Jong-Il just had one thing to say about the Korean people and all of this, which I think is pretty poignant.
Why is everyone so fucking stupid?
Yeah. Is it the haircuts?
I don't know why. But Kim Jong-un has lost a significant amount of weight because the whole country is starving in a famine. So it's shocking that he let the news talk about his weight loss because the whole country is in dire straits. He just fired, like within the last week, he fired a significant majority of his cabinet and political advisors. And people are saying that North Korea is finally in the death throes of all this business. So who knows?
That, you know?
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted. You know, I think China's more upset than anybody else because I think Russia has kind of given North Korea over to the stewardship of the Chinese.
Is your century-old communist nation failing and going through a famine? The first thing you can do is get your COVID-19 vaccine.
Yeah. That'll help. Oh, God. Casey, that is my nomination, the Kim Dynasty. But for the record, it'll be Kim Jong-Il.
Okay, yeah, perfect. That was great. We've gone over an hour without mentioning that Jonathan Yaniv's clit fell off, so I thought I'd mention that again.
It sure did.
DC,
Into his underwear.
DC, if you would tell everybody where to find stuff.
Go now to www.twogoddamngentlemen.com where you can find the link to the Patreon. You can find the link to the voicemail, the voting booth, all the good things. And tell your friends, for the love of God. Tell your friends. Because we want to keep this going after episode 50. Guys.
We need people. We're not going anywhere, but we need people. That would be great.
Yeah, this
DC,
is our night off.
The search for the Ultimate Gentleman, that continues.
Something just happened very bad is what happened, guys.
Wolves aren't gay, USA.
That's what you get for talking all that shit, you fucking asshole.
So there you go. Isn't that a great story, ladies and gentlemen?
Life is an imperfect affair at best.
Andre is shocked.
Hi.
Meeting adjourned.